How's it going, Rebel Nation? Seth Austin here. We didn't get a chance with the circumstances surrounding COVID-19 to catch up with the soccer program with their spring workouts. So we're doing it here a little bit early summer, late spring, if you will. Getting a chance to chat with the gaffer, Matt Mott. Coach, different circumstances for sure. A lot more time for you at home, I would assume. Were you able to enjoy the time you get to spend with your family as you were forced really away from the offices due to the coronavirus?
Yeah, it was good. It certainly was good. It's different for coaches who in the spring we're just full throttle between recruiting and with the team and playing games, and it's nonstop. So my wife was pretty surprised, I think, and didn't know quite how to handle me being home all that time, and same thing with my kids for that matter. But it was great. We did a lot of projects around the house and cleaning, and played a couple rounds of golf, which was fun, and did a lot of cooking. So we spent a lot of time in the backyard for sure. But happy to be back, sitting back in my office. I can tell you that.
We'll get to some of that a little bit later. You've been at Ole Miss for over a decade, been at it a lot longer than that. This is new for a lot of coaches across the country. How are you and your staff planning on attacking this fall with maybe some different restrictions with your team and players?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to follow all the rules that our universities put in place. I think they've done a great job of laying out a plan that makes sense. I'm excited that our players are back and able to train with our strength coaches. So that's pretty exciting. The idea that we're back in the office is really our first full day back in the office. I took my recruiting exam this morning and was able to pass that, so I can recruit whenever we're allowed to recruit again. But so it's the new normal. I know that phrase has been out there a lot, but we're starting to adjust. We have our masks and cleaning materials and all that kind of stuff, and it's just good to see action back in Gillum and us being back and new staffs in volleyball and softball and kind of getting to know them and spending time just back in our building is nice as we really start to ramp up to prepare for the fall.
Yeah, you mentioned the new neighbors you have at Gillum, Coach Banworth with volleyball, Coach Traxel with softball. Kayla really taking over the program for the first time in her career, and Coach Traxel's done it at North Dakota State and in Minnesota now. How can you impart some wisdom on a new coach, and how can you gain wisdom from a coach that's coming from a Big Ten program and has been successful in her own right?
Yeah, great question. So, I've gotten to know both of them pretty well. Obviously, Kayla's been here a little bit longer, and they're doing a great job. I mean, they're in the gym, they're working their butts off. Before we obviously had the COVID, and you could see some really great qualities with them. And then I've actually got to chat with Jamie quite a bit. She's going to be fantastic. I think Rebel Nation's going to love her. A great staff, and she's just a great person. Again, really hard worker. You can tell they're going to go after. They're not getting anything from the old dog. They're ready to roll. So no, it's pretty exciting to have some new faces around, and it brings us energy into our building for sure. So, but the idea that the athletes are starting to show up is pretty awesome.
And you talked about how you're bringing your team back, your staff back, and there's all these new rules and everything, but there's a big group of consistency. Of course, Rob's been with you for a while. Jess now in her third season. How will that consistency and all that returning chemistry be beneficial in a time that's a little bit more uncertain?
Yeah, that is spot on, Seth. I'm really fortunate, right? This is 11th year with Rob. He's just an absolute pro. He's been doing this a long, long time, and we're a very good team together for sure. And he really balances me out great. And then Jess is, again, third year, so not a lot of new stuff going on with her. George is in her second year, and then we've got BB, who's
I didn't mention Beeb, did I?
Yeah, this is like 6 years for him too, as our volunteer coach. I mean, there's nothing volunteer about him. He's full time, full in the office, full go. So I've got a great staff. I say all the time to all the recruits, I have one of the best staffs in the country. Head coach a little dodgy, but the staff is fantastic. So we're really, really fortunate. And you're right. I mean, we have a good crop of returning players that understand what it means. They certainly were disappointed on how the season ended last year. So the idea of us getting back to it, they're certainly very motivated for the fall.
Yeah, you don't give yourself enough credit, but I know you give your senior class that's coming in a lot of credit. And we've talked in the past about how there's some that you just don't ever want to see go. And I feel like at the end of this year, this is going to be one of those groups, isn't it?
100%. I mean, they really since they stepped foot on campus, they've been really, really impactful to our team, and yeah, obviously you have the big time player in Channing, who's been all SEC her entire career and is doing a great job for us, and Chanel Thomas, who's just a consummate pro. She's great academically, does everything right. Sophie Deneen has been just a solid player for us the entire time. We've put her in so many different positions. She's so versatile. Molly, obviously Molly Martin, again, who's gotten better and better every year, and now I think is going to be one of the best midfielders in the SEC. And then Masson Pizzino, right, the transfer who's come in and just has the best left foot in the league, I think. So those 5 guys are going to be really, really key to us. They've all played a ton of minutes. They've all been starters. And I say it every year, you win with seniors. You do. You win with a strong senior class, and we've got a strong one for sure.
Let's go back to you not getting enough credit, because last fall you talked to us a bunch. Listen, Ashley Orcus is the real deal. She can get it done, and everything you said came to fruition. She was impeccable at times in goal for you guys. What are you expecting from her as she takes that reign for the second year?
Yeah, it's too bad for Ashley, because really she probably would have been in the top 2 in the league had we not given up 9 penalties. I mean, it was just that kind of a crazy year. In my, I'm going into like 27 years of college soccer now. I've never seen a year where a team's given up 9 penalties. It just was really unfortunate. And we worked a lot on looking at why did we do that. And there's no common thread. It just was so random type things that happened. So take away those 8 goals that we gave up on the 9, but she saved one of them, right? And it was really difficult to do. So take away those 8 goals, she's in the top in the league and all the stats. So she's really a big time goalkeeper. She really is. She's worked her tail off, all spring, and she's ready, and she's going to take, I think, that next step to being the premier goalkeeper in our league. I mean, she's really at that level for sure. So we're excited about her coming into her junior year, redshirt junior year, I guess.
Tell us a little bit about the incoming group, some big-time freshmen, big-time transfers that are joining the program here this fall, and how do you get them acclimated quickly with the different time schedule?
Yeah, so real excited about the freshman group. Ramsey Davis and Price LaPasser they've been here. They came in early in January, and they were rolling. They were playing really well at a high level. They were going to get a ton of minutes, and then obviously we got shut down there. But certainly excited about them. Sydney Ham and Lucy and Abby are all coming in. They'll be in here later in June. But they're tons of energy, good players that are going to come in and impact for sure. And then our 2 transfers are massive, right? I mean, we have Marta coming from Spain, who was at Tyler Junior College, who I think will be an impact player for us without question in the back. And then Taylor Radecki, who the Ole Miss family is going to love her. She has the longest throw you've ever seen. So she's going to be pretty exciting to watch. And she's, coming from Florida State. She'll be incorporated right away. She'll be ready to hit the ground running. So it's an exciting group of 7 players that I think will really change the dynamic of our team and give us some depth. And in a year where we don't know when the virus is going to hit or not hit or any of those kind of things, having some depth is going to be huge, and those guys are going to provide that for us for sure.
All right, let's get back off the field a little bit. You mentioned how much you've been grilling and cooking out. I know that's a big passion of yours. When did that start? And what's some of your favorite stuff that you like to get out there and cook?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It actually started when I was at UCF. We had a Guatemalan assistant men's soccer coach. And we played golf one time, and him and the head coach and I went back to my house, and they grilled up a steak. It was a New York strip, and it was the best thing I'd ever eaten in my life at that point. His dad in Guatemala owned a steakhouse. So but the problem is they stayed at my house long, 2:00 in the morning, sitting out back, having steaks, having a few beers, whatever, right? So they did that like 2 Fridays in a row. Finally, the 3rd Friday, I said, well, how are you cooking that? So he kind of showed me how he cooked it. So like on Tuesday, I went and got a steak and cooked it myself. Tasted just like it. I never had him back over again. So that's how I started. But no, I love cooking, back in the backyard. It's fun. I really like doing Boston butts or pork butts. Pork shoulders is probably my specialty. Ribs. But I'll cook anything. I love it. So it's my getaway from the craziness of being a college soccer coach for sure. But certainly it's an enjoyable thing to do.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be out in the backyard a little bit more before the season starts. But as you said, hopefully it's coming here shortly. This group has endured a lot over the last couple of months. What do you think it'll mean to them to be able to get back out there and compete in a Rebel uniform again?
Yeah, I think it'll be great. I mean, they're chomping at the bit. You know, we meet with them every week. We have some video that we do. We have a team meeting every week, and you can just tell they're kind of over the Zoom meetings. They're ready to be back on campus. We have 15 of the 18 returners here now, and like I said, a little later in June we'll have some of the new guys, and then everybody back here certainly in July. So they're ready to go. You know, I really give a ton of credit to Keith Carter and Lynette Johnson to get us back safe, and obviously Shannon Singletary to set it the kind of plan in motion. It makes sense. I think it's doable. So the idea that we're back really early is awesome, and I really appreciate those guys getting this to this point so we can get prepared for the fall, because I do believe 100% we're going to have a fall season. We're going to have fans in the stands, I certainly hope, and be ready to have an exciting fallout on the pitch.
The players might be sick of the Zoom meetings. What do you think of the Zoom interviews? If this works for you, you never have to see me in person again.
I like when you come out to practice,
Okay.
Seth. You know, it's kind of fun. But if we got to do it by Zoom, we got to do it by Zoom. It's fine, no problem either way. But yeah, it's definitely different. But interviews are good.
Yeah, I don't get any bug bites from my office. Exactly. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Coach, it was good catching up with you. Thanks for spending some time. I know you're having a busy week, but really look forward to getting out there for fall camp.
Yeah, certainly, Seth. Thanks for doing it. Appreciate it. Good talking to you. We'll look forward to seeing you soon.